they're code naming Greenbelt all over the place. And there's some deleted emails and there's some information that they weren't supposed to have. And that basically it's all coming to light now. It's like, hold on a second. RCMP is looking into it. This is definitely something that they're not supposed to do, that they were not handling proper internal communications like they were, especially as something as, important as this.
This episode of the Under the Table podcast is brought to you by Shrubs.me, your all-in-one digital hub. Share files, links, videos, and more from one beautiful customizable page. Picture a cross between Dropbox, Linktree, and Patreon. Get your free account with 2.5 gigabytes of cloud storage today at Shrubs.me. TK? 2 times in one day, 1 time for real, 1 time virtual, 1 time with the Sessa team. That was nice. It's always nice to meet another YouTuber.
YouTubers, some they look exactly what you think they look like in real life, and others are completely different. Santo, that's pretty much what he looks like on the YouTube channel. That's him. That's his face.
That's him.
That's him. Just in case you were wondering.
No Botox in person.
Maybe you can ask him if we look like the online personalities that we portray.
I think it's just what I normally find is that they're never the same height that I imagine them at. Right?
Yeah, height's hard to predict. No one would really know that I'm 6'3". It's hard to predict.
No, but they probably think you are, right?
Yeah.
They probably have an inkling, and certainly everybody assumes I've got to be 6 foot something, and that's always disappointing to meet me.
Well, I'm 175 centimeters. All right, so
That's
just
good.
to make sure that you have to do some math in your head there.
Does anybody think in centimeters? Does anybody in this audience think in centimeters?
I got a planning rationale from Greg, and so it's all meters and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
Everything I do.
This doesn't sound very appealing.
All the documentation that I work on is all in millimeters and centimeters and meters, and I constantly need.
What is this? A center for ants?
It's like
we need to build at least 3 times bigger than this.
This is a lot of millimeters, though. So, but the point is in my head, it means nothing. Like I grew up for whatever reason. I mean, I think we use the metrics.
A feet and inch kind of guy.
But it's weird because when you're doing construction, it's feet and inches, but when you're doing plans, it's centimeters.
Well, they got to be submitted to the authorities. The authorities, it's all in meters. But Darryl, you're missing the point about the whole meeting this morning at breakfast.
There was a point to the meeting at breakfast.
Yeah, I got multiple offers and sold a property over asking last night.
Well, this seems to be, hold on a sec. Multiple offers. Yes, I do remember you saying that. And
priced it aggressively low. But I priced the other properties like low and like nothing really happened.
Aggressively
People
low.
were just we're not really that interested. But it was a unique property that you couldn't find anywhere else.
People don't appreciate it when people like you price things aggressively low, trying to bid up the price. It
wasn't to try to bid up the price of the value of the property. It was just to be able to satisfy the seller that this was the most amount of money that the properties was worth, because they were listed for a much higher price before for like a year and they weren't selling. And so I said, well, let's get some offers and let's get people to make sure that they are going in at their best price, meaning, remove conditions. We got a firm offer. They went to their max budget. We pushed a couple times and they said, no, that was our max budget. There was 2 offers that were we took the lower offer by a little bit because it was firm. So but
hold on a sec. Let's backtrack. So we took somebody who didn't have success with somebody else for quite some time at a much higher price.
Yes.
That price was in line with peak pricing or was below peak pricing, or where was that at?
Obviously, it was more in line with peak pricing than it was today.
Well, but okay, fine. But but what, was it 10% off a peak, 15% off a peak? Now what happened? Give us some reference point, because
they probably could have got 1.5 for that property, but they sold it for 1.15. They had it listed around 1.4, 1.35 before. So they'd come down a little bit, but just the area didn't support it. The area had houses that were between 800 and $1,050,000. So they had the biggest house. But you can't just ask hundreds of thousands of dollars more and expect people want to shop in that area with that kind of budget. They're not used to it. They look around and they go, these people crazy? So we put it at 1 million. And so 1 million is in the range. That's what everyone will come and look at. And then they go, wow, this is a big house. And then once people started to digest it, because the house was built for a family with 9 kids, the house is very unique. It's got 3 kitchens. It's got a, 3 bedroom on the top floor, 3 bedrooms on the main floor, 2 bedrooms in the basement. It's designed for a big family. And the family who bought it has 16 people living with them.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
what do you
thought it was
mean?
a typo. I don't know. They got brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and aunts and the gardener.
Oh,
But bottom line is, good family. They needed the property. They needed something unique. And so they were the ideal buyer. So the sellers are happy. It was an estate sale.
where are the
They,
buyers from? Like what do they do for a living?
like, you want to know their nationality? Is that what it
Part
was?
of it. Well,
I
part of
never
it.
saw them, but I would say European or South American.
European or South
Yeah.
American? Like, how do you
So,
mix that up?
well, it's like
Is
doesn't
one of
matter.
them Spanish sounding, or there's a mix?
European or South American. So I don't
Okay.
know. But the other part is
Not from India, though, to be
not
clear.
Indian,
Not Indian.
not Sri Lankan, not Chinese. Yeah.
Okay. That's shocking. Yeah.
No, that's a big family. So it's anyways. The long story short is, it's a happy ending there. It was almost like I forgot what I was doing. I'm just like, hold on. What do you mean you want to register an offer? Don't you know there's already one registered? What do you mean you want to put another one in? And
What's
then the
going
third guy
on right
came in
now?
here. I'm like, hold on a second. There's already two.
Hmm.
And then the third guy came in, and his offer was not so great, but the other
Not
two
so
were
great.
great. The
So
other
you
two
ended
were
up
awesome.
with three offers.
Yeah.
Three offers, one of them not so great, two of them workable.
I got a little bit of a buzz right now. I mean, I got this one place that's been on the market for, I got I got lots of places that have been on the market forever, but two places in particular are one's a power sale, the other one's a commercial property that store retail, restaurant type of stuff on the main floor, apartment on top. And that one there's potentially has an offer coming in. And then the condo power sale I've got, the lady's typing up an offer right now too. So that's good. And then I got an offer on the big one, but that hasn't gone together yet. So I don't want to talk about that until that's in the bed.
I feel like
But
your answer has nothing to do with my question, but
I
you're
forgot what the
lucky.
question was. What
Well,
was it?
so did I. So
Okay,
you're
good.
lucky, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I'm listening to something that didn't answer my question. But that's okay.
I
You have a
purposely did
list.
that. I
You have a
purposely did that.
list. Yeah,
I
you'd
purposely
like
did
to.
not answer the question.
You have an agenda.
I'll
Okay.
admit that.
Okay. But you
So I'm
don't
not
remember the
I'm not
question.
saying so the market's down for sure, 100%. Um,
Are you
but
answering my
there's
question now? Do
but
you
there is
remember what it
life. I don't
was?
I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
But there
Okay.
is life in the market. So, if there's a strategy, if you're looking at everything possible, if you're doing as much as you can, if you're, being honest with people and telling them that their price is way out of whack and that they're never going to sell for that number and that they need to get it on at a price that the market feels like it's worth, I don't see
Yeah.
why you can't sell a house right now.
This episode of the Under the Table podcast is brought to you by Shrubs.me, your all in one digital hub. Share files, links, videos, and more from one beautiful customizable page. Picture a cross between Dropbox, Linktree, and Patreon. Get your free account with 2.5 gigabytes of cloud storage today at Shrubs.me.
We've got a lot of weird things coming out of this market right now.
A
A
lot of
lot of
weird
weird,
things.
yeah, a lot of weird stuff. Just
Like
because
16 people from Europe living
Yeah,
in a house.
sure. But just because there's people who are like under a lot of stress. So there's just people who are just like, they're not happy really quickly, like really quickly. Like you can be dealing with someone, they're the most normal. I had this one condo, this couple, and they were weird right from the beginning. Like they were both weird right from the beginning. And I was just like, whatever, like good for you guys. You guys got your little thing going on here.
Okay.
And then and he was an agent, but he's not like any good. So he's like, okay, can you guys sell it for me? So I list the property and then I'm like giving them the feedback. We got I don't know, not that many showings, but it wasn't very many. And the feedback was, hey, your place isn't worth what you think it's worth. And then it was just like, okay, we want to cancel. We want it off the market. Da, 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 da. And so in the end, they put up this big stink, and I didn't want to deal with them anymore. And so I'm not like trying to hold people to contracts and stuff like that. If they're that adamant about getting out of them, I said, listen, move on with your life because I got more important things to worry about. And he said, we're never going to sell this condo. I'm going to keep it forever. I just want the cancellation because I don't want to see it on the MLS. And he was a liar. I mean, that's what he is. He's a liar. And then he listed right away with another agent at a lower price, and there's no action on their property still, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just like the weirdest type of situation. I've never dealt with like people who are like so emotionally unstable. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I'm not even blaming. I'm not like saying that they're bad people.
Like
It's
they
just like the
have like,
stress from the market, like just because people
yeah.
aren't getting what they want, they're just doing funny things. So that was like a personal story with mine, but I'm hearing so many from my colleagues too of just like these people. They're coming to me and they're like, okay, now she's saying this, now he's saying this. And I'm like, holy smoke, this is like torture, just even listening to some of these stories because they're just so full of emotion, you know, and people are just really just like at their, wits end. And it's just, I want my money. Where's my money? Why can't you get me the price of my home? I think it's worth this. And their emotions come out because that money means so much to them, you know?
Yeah,
And they
because
just
they
aren't willing
need
to
it.
accept the fact that their neighbors are on the market for cheaper or the last guy sold for less. Like
I
they're just
don't.
like they just don't want to look at that. They're
But
like,
is that
I got a balcony. My balcony's 2 feet bigger on the one side.
but is that the factor, or is it the amount of money that they need in order to do whatever the plan is?
Well, they had plans. Yeah, exactly. So they had
Right?
plans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
have
had
plans.
plans.
So it's like to do plans equals sale price of X because after this, and
Sure.
this, I need X, right?
But why don't you make bigger plans then? Like if you need to go and buy, okay, $1 million boat with the proceeds of your sale,
Yeah.
then I think you should need to buy a $2 million boat. Because if the value of your condo is determined by how big of a boat you need to buy, then I think you should maybe buy a bigger boat. Then you'll get
Well,
more money for your condo.
this is why no one comes to you for these kind of things, DK, because
Oh,
that's
so the
not how people
value of the
think.
boat and what you need to buy has no bearing on the actual value of the
Determines.
home that
No,
you're selling. Jeez,
no.
Daryl, you're so smart.
The
How'd you figure
value,
that out?
the price of that whatever is okay. When somebody sells something, right?
Yeah,
They're like, okay, like now I can do this, right?
yeah, yeah,
When somebody's in the mode to sell something, it's either they have no choice, and if they don't get this, they're fucked,
yeah,
right? Or it's like, I'm going to sell it because I need this so that I can do that, right?
yeah,
And so if you're trying to sell it for this so you can do that, you have a different kind of pressure. It's more like, this is what I think it's worth. If I don't get this, then it doesn't matter. I just won't get that, I suppose. But if it's like you're fucked if you don't get 1.4 on this house because now you
yeah.
can't pay Vito back, and you don't want to tell your wife that
Listen,
Vito
you
even
might be on a payment
exists.
plan with Vito. Like it's like none of
Bro,
those factors
you've been
impact the
on a
value of real estate.
You've been on the yes, but they do. And what happens is they impact them negatively because people wait too long trying to figure out how to sort out their shit. And like you keep saying, and we keep hearing in the news, is like people lose money waiting for that price when they finally months later come to the realization, holy shit, like I can't do this for anymore. I better listen to TK or whoever the hell has been telling me to lower my price for the last 3 months.
But that's
Now
the
it's
thing is
time.
they want to get rid of you before. That's the problem.
Well,
Is
sure,
because
because
you're
first
telling
it's
them
your
what they need to
fault.
know,
Right.
not just what they want to hear. They want to get rid of you right away.
Yeah.
You know? They're
But
like,
that's
"What do you
fine.
mean you can't do the do, 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 do?
But
I'm
that's fine.
and it's
Look,
like,
you even said
yeah,
that you're happy when they come from someone else because now you know that they learned their
it's the
lesson.
best.
Right.
It's the
So it's
best.
like,
Last night was so smooth,
right?
even though they were taking way less money than they hoped to had gotten before, but they had a year's worth of experience on what not to do.
Right. And so that affected the market negatively on their street, especially because they became an even lower sale price
They got
than
the
they
highest
could have
sale
been
price in the whole neighborhood for the last 6 months.
for the last 6 months. But if they sold it a year ago at the right price, what would it have
A
been?
year ago, it would have been a little bit more. Yeah.
Right. So, and then they fucked everybody else on the street because now the latest sales lower than it could have fucking been.
Well,
Right.
it is what it is. Bottom line is,
People don't think about it. You know what I
but
hear?
but
People don't think about the other people on the street. I was at a restaurant the other day, and this girl, she used to work for me in the furniture business, but she turned into a realtor, and she
yeah,
sold a couple of houses on my street during COVID, and she
yeah,
sold them for super low. And I was so fucking pissed at her, right? I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
fucker, you guys, you don't think about everybody else on the street. You just fucked everybody on the street,
I
right?
remember that. Yeah,
Right. And we saw her at dinner the other day, and I was like, I wanted to just say, like,
like what at a restaurant or
yeah, at a restaurant, just
yeah,
randomly. And
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
hey, how's it going? And in my head, I'm like, you fucked me on my street.
I'm
You fucked
gonna
the whole
trash your
goddamn
name
street.
on the
You
Facebook.
fucker. Yeah, I can't do
Yeah,
that. I can't
yeah.
do that. But anyways, regardless, so
Hopefully
I
she's
forget.
listening, so then at least she knows what you were thinking.
God damn it, you ruined the whole street, fucker. Because people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They fucked their clients, honestly, because they could have got more money. And they just like did a stupid
I don't
move.
know. I don't know.
I'm telling you. I'm
Yeah,
telling
that one sale I remember, that was a super low one. Yeah.
crazy
I remember the
stupid.
one
Two of
stupid
them.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stupid. Thank
Yeah.
God the next one happened
Yeah,
because it
yeah, yeah.
reset
It
everything
it it
back
it
to
it it,
normal.
it it got everything back on track. Yeah.
Holy
I mean,
cow.
look, you got some crazy stats out there. I mean, you got TD's talking about recession, TD's talking about the prices coming down. You've got
Really?
people concerned about the unemployment rate right now, job losses. You got a lot of people out there right now who are looking for work. You got a lot of people out there right now who are unafford like they can't afford what they're living in, you know, and
Yeah.
it's a struggle. I mean, Canada's economy, has had one of the worst rises in unemployment rate out of the whole bloody world. There's only a couple countries ahead of us that
With
that
higher unemployment
that have
rates?
that have had a higher change in the delta from the lows of
Hmm.
COVID to now. You know what I mean? So it's like we're bursting at the seams here. And
Well,
now we're talking about, thankfully we're talking about slowing down immigration, and there's a big change in the net
yeah, but they're
non-permanent residents
talking
here.
about it, but they're ramping up. We had like 800,000 people in the first quarter.
No, well, there's still a huge downtick in overall people that are here, which is affecting the rental market, right? And
Is
so
that the
the
problem in the
non-permanent
rental market?
residents, when they're not here, they're the ones who are only going to be renting, right? If you're a non-permanent resident, you're not even allowed to buy, and you're definitely only thinking short term, so you're going to be renting. So we're watching rents fall in a lot of areas right now, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People are mentioning basements more than anything. Basement prices are falling through the floor. And
yeah.
prices got so crazy in so many areas. There's got to be an adjustment, I suppose. And then I don't know, there's a lot of stock coming on the market and even more coming on the market soon. This is
Four.
going to just for new rentals, right? I mean,
Yeah, all those condo rentals, right? Yeah,
no, no,
I
not
think.
even the condo. I mean, there's that, but there's all the purpose-built rental buildings that have been,
Yeah,
started or got financed recently or been in development for a while, or they're like
yeah,
part of the create TO nonsense or
yeah. Average one bedroom is almost down like 18%.
18%. So what's
Yeah,
the average one bedroom now? Where's that?
20
GTA or
20 Toronto,
Toronto?
2200
2200 from 2350 or something like that?
from
2380
26.
from 26.
Yeah,
Holy cow. That'll screw you up when you were like already losing money every month,
yeah, big
right?
time.
And
Yeah,
now you got a higher interest rate probably. It's a fucking holy
yeah.
Jesus.
Toronto area condo market rents drops the most in 15 years.
Condo. Oh,
Yeah.
condo. So, but what about like in normal apartments?
Well, that one there was for one bedrooms. That was all Toronto one bedrooms.
Like the
So.
majority is apartment buildings. It's not these condo fucking Frankenstein buildings.
Well, I mean, think about those guys there. You're closing on a new construction condo. You got 30 people listing for rent at the same time, and you're bleeding money every single month. You don't have an extra 2 grand a month. And whether you get 2,500 or 2 grand, you just need money to come in ASAP, you know? And that's
Yeah.
why you're going to be, taking the cheapest price you possibly can.
No, but
Think
you
about
also have agents that are like, just close, we'll get a tenant in there, and then we'll get it sold for you. And
it.
it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's
Yeah.
even fucking harder because you got a tenant in there, you're losing money, can't
Yeah.
get rid of the tenant, and now you gotta like now it's a tenanted in a sea of like condos that are the same that don't have tenants.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like just close so I can get my commission for
Yeah.
fuck's sakes, right?
Medium rent's only down 5%.
What? What's a
Median rent,
medium? Oh,
median,
median.
median
Median.
rent is only down 5%. But you got some last year.
Let's
Four
use
four
that then.
bedrooms are down 24%. Studios down 8%. 3 bedrooms down 9%. 2 bedrooms 3%. So like they're heading down. They're heading down.
What was 2 bedrooms? 3% down?
Yeah.
Hmm. That's
Yeah,
got
but
to be
then
the
but
most sought after apartment right now is a 2 bedroom with some
sure, but
decent
you're
space.
gonna have some places that are gonna be looking at newer units, right? So when you got a newer unit, that should rent a little bit higher. So that kind of affects average prices, right? So we got a lot of places coming up for rent. Think about all the places that are coming up for rent. Markham down 26% 1 year
For
rents.
rent?
Yeah.
Wow.
Richmond Hill down 19%.
But like if you bought a house in Markham as an
Yeah.
investment to rent out, like is this really a smart strategy, TK? Is this really the place that you should have been buying a new construction home to rent out? For God's sakes, what were people
You know
thinking?
what I would say would be a really smart business plan for people to buy housing
Hmm.
is to buy in an area where there is a lot of Chinese buyers, right? Because the appreciation in those areas when the market's hot is like the highest.
Isn't
Like
that
in
Markham?
2017, yeah, 2017, we have prices in 2017 that never came back. Like they were like the highest ever, and then they dropped down like 40% almost, and some of them never even came back up until the peak of 2022, like still haven't. And those were all in the heavy Chinese buyer areas. So when they're buying and they got their money and everybody's hot and they want to be in those neighborhoods, there's a lot of appreciation there. But market fundamentals, I mean, yeah, Markham's probably not going to be your ideal scenario, right?
Not for that kind of thing, for
Do you
God's
ever do you
sake.
ever look at the sold below bought on House Sigma?
No,
You never do?
no.
So like people who like buy the property and then they sell it for less?
I see people posting stuff about that, but I
Yeah.
personally don't pay much attention to that because it's
Yeah.
all smoke and mirrors, anyways. The
What does
prices.
that mean?
Well, the prices are all bullshit. So, like below asking, what does that mean?
Not below asking, below bought.
Below bought. Oh, sold below bought.
Yeah.
You can search for that.
On House Sigma, yeah.
Oh,
So like when you
that's how
start
everybody comes up with that stuff. Okay.
exactly. So when you look at some of the deals, right? So you've got some places that are like pretty significant. Where was that one in Hamilton here? This one here, they bought it for $3.2
Oh, I heard
million
about that.
dollars,
Yeah.
and then they sold it for 1.85.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a 40 something percent
Who,
loss.
but who
Who
the
paid
hell?
3.2 million for a house in Hamilton?
Not even that. Like
Yeah.
we talked about it this morning. It's the
Yeah.
same old story. How many people were complicit in that purchase going through,
Right?
right?
They should be shot. They should be lined up on the street and shot. Say
Everybody should be.
$3.2 million for a house in Hamilton. Who's paying for it? Who's agreeing to this?
Yeah, first of all, the buyer just needs a lobotomy
Yeah,
instantly.
just
Although it's,
remove all access to his cash. And the
eh,
fact that he could sell it for 1.85 afterwards without
is
going
it?
power sale, right?
But
Like
I,
there was a lot of cash involved there.
but I was still thinking when I was like
Not responsible.
2.85 in Hamilton, like who's the
Yeah.
fucking idiot that's still paying that for fuck's
And if
sakes?
you've got that much money, like how come you can't just float the mortgage?
What's going
Where
on?
is this level of irresponsibility coming from? How do
Uh,
you get to that? I mean,
sh-
sorry, buddy, if you're listening to this and that's you,
Yeah, you're
you're a
dumb.
dummy.
You're
I'm
dumb.
sorry.
But hold on a
This
sec.
was I anybody could have told you not to do that.
But the appraiser should be lose his license,
The appraisal, yeah, the appraiser, he should be
right?
castrated or something.
Well, okay, like
Maybe that's extreme.
let's dig into it and really see like how many fees, how much, what was the dollar amount in fees that were generated from these mortgages that this poor buyer, got into? How like how much were they taken advantage of, right? Like
Yeah.
how dumb were these? Or I mean, it's even extreme for a money laundering operation. That's a big fucking kick to the balls, man. That's
3.2 million. But he must have had like if he
that's
sold for 1.85, that must be right around where the mortgage amount was, right? Because that's why he can actually sell it for that price without going power sale. So let's say he put 50% down. So he's got a $1.5 million mortgage. Someone gave him a private, so it's like, that's why he's under stress is because then maintenance fees are super high. So $1.5 million more private. So somebody's collecting like 75 grand in fees,
a
right?
private and a like a normal, you
On a
said?
first mortgage. No, on a first mortgage, right? So he's got 75 grand in fees, plus they got all their interest every year, 200 grand worth of interest. The agent on 3.2 million, he's making, 80 grand, right?
It can't just be
Then
one mortgage here. There's got to be like three mortgages on
I
this
don't know,
thing.
for him to sell it that cheap without it going power sale, that's hard to believe. Then you've got Might have been a power sale. I should look that up.
I think it was power sale if I remember the story. Can you
Yeah,
check that?
I will right now. Yeah.
Because
Then
yeah,
then you got the appraiser. He makes his $500 and washes his hands with it because he's got insurance,
that's all the
right?
appraiser charges for a residential appraisal? $500?
For the bank ones. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder. And then they
No
got to
wonder
do
why.
a million of them, right? They got to do a million of them. And if they piss off the bank, then they're fucking done. So what do? They got to just say,
Yeah.
what is this? What is this appraise at, sir? What is this one appraising at, sir?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want on this one?
What do you want on this one?
What
Can I
do you?
help you?
That's the
So
kind of
I'll
appraisal.
get we'll get back to that, but are
Is
you
it power
do you
sale?
follow any of the Greenbelt scams?
Are we not
Greenbelt?
answering the? We had a question. Okay, let's just
I'm
move
I'm
on.
looking into that, but
Oh,
we
okay.
can yeah.
We can talk while you do research.
Yeah. Are you following that or no?
Well, I mean, you piqued my interest this morning, and I did do some digging. There's some new bill out, something five, I guess, M5 or G5 or something
Well,
five.
first start with the scams, like about all the emails and stuff.
Well, I didn't dig that deep. So how about you lead the
Yes, it
way?
was power sale. Sorry. Extend Financial was the seller.
All right, let's go back to that now.
Power sale.
The flow of the show is being controlled incredibly well today. Power of sale.
Yeah,
Okay, so hold on a sec. So
multiple
now,
agents. He tried his best.
does this
Well, I
change
got his
your?
name here. I won't say his name, but he tried his best. He tried to get 2.5. I guess that's what would have put him in the clear, and then he fell over, and
So
then someone
hold
else took
on.
it.
So now, okay, so it's not impossible that there was multiple mortgages on this thing, right? You're saying that it sold for 1.8 something on a 3-2 purchase. Oh, and he tried to get 2.5. Yeah. So having 700,000 in, like, where does a guy like this get 700,000 cash? Okay. Probably a third mortgage. Maybe this
And
guy's got
Extend Financial does not sound like an A lender.
extend
Extend
financial. Yeah.
Financial.
We ruin you.
Oh no.
Okay, so
Poor
this
guy.
guy got totally. What is the house even?
And they
Like,
were
is it?
listed at 3.2
Was it nice? Is it nice?
in 2022. They were listed for 3.2 in 2022. Okay, a good time. And then it expired. It didn't sell.
What month in 2022? Isn't that when all hell broke loose? No, 2020. 2022
Yeah.
was good times or bad times?
That was a good time, but it was like June. So it
Hmm.
doesn't even seem like this was like a peak
I feel
price
like
type of
that's not a good
situation.
time. Maybe a good time to buy.
What's how Sigma tell us today?
I guess not in hindsight.
Definitely
Okay.
not.
Well, anyways, what kind of house was it? Was it a
It
new
was a
house?
new big house. Yeah, there's
A
nothing wrong.
new house. So that means the house next door must have been 3.2 million. No? And the house next door to that must have been near 3.2 million.
No, there's just a couple infill lots that they built on. Built in
Ah,
2021.
there's a custom house
Sale
built.
price in 2023 for like 3 point something million. So it's like it was already listed in 2022 in the peak of the market for 3.2 and it expired. The builder couldn't sell it. They had it up at 1.9 in 2020. It's like
What's the
just
address?
bad advice, bad advice. I don't
Bad
want to say the
advice.
address.
You
We
don't
don't
want
want
to
to throw
say
the
the
guy under the
address.
bus. No, we don't want to throw the guy under the bus.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Don't throw him under the bus. But
Yeah.
whoever you are, you're foolish. You're foolish or you're up to no good, TK. It could be
The way
one
I
of the
look at
two.
this is how I look at it. Money is very you know, responsible. And if you're supposed to have money because of the decisions that you make, then you'll keep your money. And if you're not supposed to have money, then the decisions you make, you will lose your money. And it's like that through investing, through scams, through, savings, whatever it is. If you're responsible, then that money will stay with you and it's your money and it'll be invested right and it'll be yours. And when you later on it'll all be there. But if you're not, then no matter how much money you make, no matter what you do, no matter where it goes, eventually all that money will be gone because it's just the way that, you know, your laws of money work. So some people, they have money, maybe they come into it one way or the next, but they make decisions like this where it gets quickly lost. And unfortunately for this guy, it's lost.
Well, I'll tell you, it's clear to me in hindsight that back in the day, the universe did not want me to have one fucking cent, TK.
It did not, but
But um, I mean, I feel like that was a slow moving disaster, right? I don't feel like that just happened quickly because of a poor decision. I think that happens slowly because of multiple poor decisions
Mm,
piling on top of each other over time. But yeah, I definitely you see stories of people who clearly had no idea how to manage the amount of wealth that was thrust upon them, and they behave in certain ways that I think most people would probably behave in if all of a sudden, you had, you know, tens of millions of dollars. Just having a little bit of money is hard to not spend all of it all the time, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, the amount of people that make good money that live month to month is startling,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
really startling. And
yeah.
so, I mean, I know I'm always, well, my wife's always telling me that I should like, don't, what are you doing? Like, we don't even need that. Why are you spending so much money?
Yeah.
And I mean, I do hold back a considerable amount because if it was up to me, I would literally just like, if I looked at it, I would just, yeah, let's buy it. And I
Let's
can't
buy it.
afford to be like that, right?
No, I think the best thing for money for most people is to like just like put it away somewhere,
It's not
Go,
fun, TK.
invest it here and invest it there and just be like, it's gone now. I can't do anything with it. And then when you always look at your checking account and it's so small, you're going, man, I don't have any money. I better not spend any. But
It's
if you're
not
just
fun.
hanging on to money, eventually you're gonna spend it.
It's one way of doing it, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
smart way of doing it, but it makes the younger years far less fun. Okay. It makes it so that your later years, you're set up for not having to work so hard, which is very smart. But there is another way of doing it, TK. And I
Yeah.
don't recommend it to everybody, but
What is it?
you can just fucking try anything and just see what happens and have a goal of just making
Make more
more
money.
money all the
Make more
time,
money.
right? Just make
Do
more,
math.
just make
Dude,
more.
math.
Figure it out,
I
make
just,
more,
I'm not going to cut my costs. I'm just going to make more money. All
just
right.
more
So
money.
Dougie and the boys, okay,
Dougie
and the
and the
bandits.
boys.
We
Okay.
know what happened, okay? Greenbelt lands. There was 15 properties that were taken out of the Greenbelt, and he had all his, select pieces of land, which, yes, there might have been a personal relationship between him and the landowners, but also these landowners were ready to build, and Doug had a mandate to build more houses.
And
So for these
able. And
this is
able.
these guys were the guys. It wasn't just random like friends and it was like ha ha ha. Then they can no, these happened to be also the number one guys in the position to build in the Greenbelt, and nobody could be
Right. Yeah.
possibly getting more houses online than these guys.
No,
Okay?
like to
So
be clear, they didn't
yeah,
go to like
a
uh,
farmer.
right, like
Yeah,
farmers, although a
yeah,
lot of them own a ton of farmland and are farmers, but they didn't go to like the aerospace program and
yeah,
say, we are, because we're friends, we're going to give you a bunch of money to build a bunch of houses. All they
exactly.
did was say, you know what? Somehow it managed to like line up perfectly that you guys own this land in an area where if we just unlocked the ability to build residential, you'd all be billionaires multiple times over overnight.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Even though you're already billionaires.
Yeah, who cares? What's
But
another billion?
the main thing was though was that the way he went about it, because there was a lot of extra stuff, and like considering the amount of money that would be involved in those land appreciation costs, it's not like Doug was getting, unless he's got some sort of bank account somewhere that no one knows about, but we're talking about some pretty minor allegations for housing ministers and people who are connected to the program. And so massages in Las Vegas and Maple Leafs tickets and all those type of things. These to me are pretty inconsequential, but nonetheless mean something to somebody. And if all you got to do is sign a piece of paper at work and you and your son are going to the Leaf games that night, then I don't, I'm not surprised if somebody could be influenced by that. But my point is,
Those are expensive
um,
tickets.
my point is, right, is that they got caught and that, it was very obvious. So now they're going through all the emails, and the emails, it's like G, B, G, star, 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 and they're code naming Greenbelt all over the place. And there's some deleted emails and there's some information that they weren't supposed to have. And that basically it's all coming to light now. It's like, hold on a second. RCMP is looking into it. This is definitely something that they're not supposed to do, that they were not handling proper internal communications like they were, especially as something as important is this? And so, unfortunately, what happens now is you're going to get all these people, all these NIMBYs, all these environmentalists, all these, going from one protest to the next protest type of people who are now all going to say, we need to put further protections on the Greenbelt. We need to make sure that no government can ever do this again. Otherwise, we're going to lose our farm and land, Guys, do you know how much land we have in Canada? Like, does anybody really know the amount of unused land we have here? Like, I don't have that statistic, but just go and look at a map, go and see how much land we have. We got enough land. We're going to figure things out. Okay. We
It,
need some more houses. That's what we need around Toronto. We got enough land. Go and look at the Greenbelt. Go and look at the areas that are covered by Greenbelt. Not all of it's being farmed.
but
Okay.
TK,
Yeah.
there's like the blue speckled hummingbird,
Listen, the blue speckled hummingbird with the orange frog.
the
Okay.
orange butt
The
frog.
orange butt frog. We're gonna make sure that they have the best opportunity to live like we possibly can. But they used to be down at on Bremner. They used to be in Leslieville. They're not there anymore. They
And
moved,
did anybody notice?
right? They moved. That's
They
what's gonna
moved.
happen if that goes down. And obviously you're gonna try to protect conservation areas as much as you can. But when we're talking about a big open field in the middle of this so-called greenbelt, there is definitely places that should be built. When they trace back the map on how the greenbelt was drawn, and they look at all the landowners who represent the current at that time the Liberal Party, right? Would have been Dalton McGuinty, the Liberal Party, who was who supported the Liberal Party and who supported the Conservatives. You'll see a very clear line around the Liberal Party's supporters' land, excluding them from being part of this green belt, right?
Sure.
And the people who didn't support the current that time, the standing Liberal Provincial Party, those people's land got included.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my
So
ends
how
at
much
Marvin's
science
house.
was put into this?
No science. It's
No
called
science.
money, right? It's money, 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 money.
So there's a 10-year study that's now coming up.
A 10-year study that's coming up.
That's due. That's mandatory. That they have a 10-year study. It was due in March for people to now submit reports and for the government to be able to review and for public consultation because they need to figure out how they should go about handling the greenbelt. And I hope to God that I'm not saying remove it all. I'm not saying that any should be removed or kept. Just look into it. Just can somebody actually provide some sort of reports that are going to show the impact of building a few thousand houses, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000? Like,
When I
can we
was
not get some
growing
more
up,
houses?
when I was growing up, like Leslie and John Street was not even
Yeah.
a thing. Like it was all farmland up there,
Yeah.
Bayview in like just north of Steeles, all this stuff, maybe a little like John Street,
Yeah.
all like fields and horses and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so it's like, how did they decide where to build all these subdivisions that popped up all over the place, right?
Yeah.
It was where all those guys owned land, right?
Yeah.
It was like, we own the land here. We're going to develop it. We're going to build something here,
Yeah.
right? And so, how is the Greenbelt fucking different than all these other, like, why Newmarket? Why Barrie? Why Vaughan? Why,
Yeah.
right? Like Stouffville. Like,
407 goes right through the green belt. Interesting.
but you know what
I,
I'm saying? It's like,
I still
why?
see frogs in the ponds.
It'd be hard to not notice orange butt frogs missing, I
Yeah.
must say.
Right.
Right? Like you'd think you would notice that all the orange butt frogs disappeared. But regardless, the point is that development is constantly following two things: transit and the developers that own the land near where they want you to build.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know why they decided that they didn't want people to build there. All this stupid shit. It's 2025. Run the scenario through ChatGPT. Okay. If ChatGPT says that it makes the most sense not to build in the greenbelt, then fine. Ask.
Well, we got to do that now.
Well, we can do that now.
Yeah, we have
But
to do that now after you
really,
said it.
what the fuck? Like who the problem is like people don't know what to do when there's this giant group of unathletic people with weird multicolor hair and tattoos and rings all over the place and signs and pickets and pitchforks. People don't know how to deal with that other than to give them what they want, right? And so over time, you had all these people advocating to not build over there, and then they won, right? And
Yep.
they probably won while a bunch of this land was already owned by a bunch of these developer billionaires, right? And so they spent probably the last 10 years paying politicians to remove the constraints, I would imagine, right? Or waiting until somebody was willing to remove the constraints. But I'm pretty sure that money gets involved in these big deals at
Yeah.
some level. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just making
Well,
a statement.
ChatGPT said no, but then I just told it to support the Greenbelt, and so now it says absolutely.
Well, see,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
But
Conclusion.
I'm guessing
Ontario
that,
faces an unprecedented housing challenge with thoughtful planning, strict environmental safeguards, and smart design. Limited development within the Greenbelt can address this crisis without compromising long-term sustainability. The goal isn't to pave over protected land, but to use our land resources more intelligently and humanely. That's what it is. It's just like, it's just dumb. And so now, what you were saying, or was this maybe Santo this morning, where it's artificially propping up the value of the land not in the Greenbelt? Because like scarcity, it's like the Rolex stores, the designer fashion purses and all that kind of stuff. You walk in there and you want to buy something, and they're just like, "I'm sorry, but you need to put your name on the list." It makes you want to pay more. You're on mute.
how the fuck did that happen? At first, you have to own this model, and then you have to own one of these. And then
Yeah,
once you've been a customer of ours for 8 years, then you can get one of these. But now try and get whatever the hell that luxury product was.
yeah.
Now they're begging you to buy stuff.
I don't think so.
Oh my God. I have a partner who um just got himself a new Ferrari. And up
Uh-huh.
until very recently, like, with Ferraris, there's levels you have to get to in order to buy a new
Best
one,
one.
right?
Yeah,
And so he was like on the ladder, and all of a sudden, like all the rungs on the ladder disappeared, and they were like
right to the top.
right to the top.
Yeah,
And it's not because, maybe it's because he's my partner and they found out and they said, "Hey,
they saw the show.
Daryl's partner. I'm a fan of the show.
Most
Those
logical explanation.
those rungs are gone." No, but the reality is that they don't have anybody else to buy the goddamn thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't know who the fuck is buying. I don't know. As much as I would love to have a Ferrari, I don't think I could like spend 400, 500, $800,000 on a car. That seems fucking mental.
Well, I guess it would be the same
I could just rent
thing
one
as
on.
somebody saying they don't want to spend 100 grand on a car.
Yeah, I
Right?
guess. I guess. Yeah.
And
How?
so then someone might say, "Well, I'd never spend 50 grand on a car." And then some people would say, "I wouldn't pay, $20,000 for a car."
Yeah.
But to someone who's buying a four or $500,000 car, maybe there's someone who say, "Geez, he's only buying a $400,000 car. What's wrong with him? Why does he need to go buy $1 million car?"
It's
You know?
just crazy. And you can't even drive them like
Yeah,
properly. I mean, even my cars, I mean, you open it up and like, where are you? You're at a red light in 2 seconds or at a stop sign. Like, where are
yeah,
you going?
yeah.
And you go on the highway. I don't know. How fast
You
do
can
you
just
drive
just
on the
going
highway?
just transferring. That's your chance. Is when you're like going from 401 to 407 or 407 to 401, or like you got this big huge like transition
Yeah.
from like one highway to the next, and you can speed ahead and try to beat all the that's your chance, Daryl. That's you got about
But
10
where are you
seconds of
going?
glory
Yeah. How fast do you go?
as
Right.
fast as the car will let you go.
I don't
That's your
know.
chance.
I feel like those days are gone. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like I'm afraid to drive the goddamn car so fast, anyways.
yeah,
You know,
me too. Yeah,
it, I guess things they lose like their appeal as you get older. And maybe, I don't know if I'm any smarter. I just feel like, God, getting in and out of that thing now would be a real fucking chore. And then I mean, I'm so annoying with my car now with the wheels and like just how clean it is. I can't even imagine if I dropped that kind of dough on a car, how
yeah,
annoying I would be. Wouldn't let if you look at my car, I'll fucking murder you. Don't put a fucking anything on that thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right now, it's like if we got this tree, we got this goddamn tree. It just fucking drops shit all over the cars all the time. It's insane. Like,
You know what you need is you need to live in a luxury building that has valet parking that
right?
takes your car downstairs,
That's right.
changes its oil, tickles its
100%.
balls, and wipes it down with a lint-free
Well, you at the perfect time, you just cut out there. So hold
a
on a second.
lint-free a lint-free cloth.
A lint-free ball brush?
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The car
Yeah, yeah.
chamois.
I
Yeah,
think I think there are places like that, and there will be more.
there will be
There
more.
will be more.
Are you a real estate agent and you're looking to make a change? Anywhere in Ontario, guess what? We're hiring. Frankly and Associates, #1 team in the GTA for all REMAX teams, #1 team for all teams from all companies for number of units sold throughout Toronto. So if you're looking to make a change, best decision I ever made was to join Frankly and Associates. Go to jointeamleo.com and we can set up a call.
We were going to talk about Condo Man.
We were?
Yeah.
We can talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Is this an official thing? Are you writing an offer right now? Is that what you've been doing?
No, 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 no.
Is this something that's out there in the public realm? I mean, you said
Um,
it.
I don't know.
I guess it has to be now. You put it there. Do we have to edit this?
Yeah, you got Dyke.
I don't remember hearing anything in the news. I just know that,
That their properties are for sale.
yeah,
Yeah.
for a while.
Well, we kind of already said it. We just won't say anything more about which developer we're talking about.
Would you
And
want me to get that out of there?
I don't think so.
No?
No,
Well, then let's just keep saying his
let's
name.
just keep going on. All right.
You're
Good.
okay with it?
Absolutely. I'm okay with it. This has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, it has
So
nothing to do with
let's
you.
talk about pre-con
Breaking news.
agents.
Breaking
You know?
news.
Well,
Yeah.
pre-con agents, I mean, they are out there trying to make money, right? And so
They
when they see the developers doing what they're doing and they're seeing the lineups of people getting all the worksheets, eventually the pre-con agents go, why don't I become a developer?
sure.
I got all these buyers lined up. We got
Oh,
all
yeah.
these connections with the agents.
Look how
I
easy
see
it
what they're
is.
doing. It's so easy. You just got to
So
sell the
easy.
units.
Yeah, just buy something.
Yep.
The rest all falls into
I'll
place.
raise money for my investors instead of them being on the purchase of the condos because they want to buy all these condos. I'll say, hey, give me some money and we're going to do a development. We're going to make even more.
Well, it's surprising actually how many newer developers who never fucking did anything are able to raise an incredible amount of money. And not
Yeah.
only for one project, but for multiple projects. And this is generally where they get fucked, right? Is that they're too good at doing that, right? And they
Yeah,
don't,
they're great at the sales. The raising the money is like
right?
they got that mastered.
But they got that mastered and they have
Yeah.
a network for whatever reason and they can come
Yeah.
up with cash,
They look
but
the
they don't
part.
know, but they don't know how to fucking pick the property. So they
Yeah.
put people's cash into something that, and they don't know how to develop properly. And you end up in, and then, I mean, if you add horrible timing on top of it, which more often than not in this game is really nobody's fault because the cycles are so long and there's so many things out of your control, but you can just kind of see a pattern with some behavior with some people, right? And so
Mhm.
you have a lot of these newer developers with multiple sites and just right now with the worst timing ever, all
Mm.
kind of stuck, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have something in not the best area and it's not developed well, on top of it being a horrible time, and you're selling when everybody knows you're got to be fucked for selling right now, like, you know that people are either in trouble or really trying to avoid being in trouble, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if you're a smart developer, even thinking about looking at this, you have to look at that guy and smell blood, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't, I mean, I've seen the sites. Nothing is so great, you know, that you don't have to just go in there and see what the fuck you can get away with, right? And
Yeah.
if you can't, then who gives a shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're rezoning those things probably, and it's a whole thing, right? And he's thinking it's worth something because it's zoned already,
Yeah.
right? And so this is what I'm seeing a lot. Like Bailey keeps sending me stuff lately, and you're getting stuff out there that's zoned all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. And the big
Listed.
problem is
Yeah.
that none of the buyers want to buy a zone site that they can just move on right now. Right.
No. No.
So it's like, oh, what do I want a zone site for? The thing is with all these sites that are zoned, most of them have a lot of room to rezone them, but the price is based on it being zoned. So they're fucked, right?
The
They're
price
fucked.
is
The price is based on them being zoned for, let's say, for argument's sake,
what
there's
the seller is the one that you're talking about who, because it's only based on what they're zoned at, they're not going to get more money for the land.
well, so we have this thing at Dufferin and Bloor. It's a church, okay? And somebody put together an assembly and they got it zoned for townhouses,
Yeah.
right? And so they're charging a price for a zoned site for townhouses. But whoever has a brain is going to go into that site and go, shit, it's right by the subway. Why am I doing townhouses here? They did
Yeah.
townhouses because they started 7 years ago or 5 years ago. Right now, I'm going in for like a 20-story building or whatever the fuck. But
Yeah.
their price is out to lunch because it's based on being zoned as a townhouse site, right? And so I don't know. I guess if you want to build townhouses right away and you can find value, but like the price is too high, right? Because they got to make money, right? Because they're selling right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's selling right now, doesn't need to make money,
Yeah.
right? So they're going to get caught in that same thing. They're probably already caught in it. They probably reduced already for all I know. I'm just using it as an example. If you look around in a lot of things, there's another one at Bathurst and shit. Where is it? On Bathurst Street again, zone
Yeah.
4 stories on a street that's definitely at least 6 stories now, but they want a price based on it being zoned 4 stories,
So the
right?
20 the one that we were talking about on Queen Street, that one there you had talked about did we talk about it on the last show or the show before
Republic
by
and
Cartera?
Cartera, yeah,
Yeah. So they paid 20, they closed on that. So 28 million.
yeah. What'd they
They
pay
paid for
for?
that. 28 million.
No. Well, we shouldn't. I'm
It's
sure
there. It's public
Matt.
records.
No. Before, what did Matt pay for? Is the question. Like, how did
Oh.
they do?
Do you want me to find
But
out?
anyways, well, we shouldn't do that. People can go look it up. But the point is well, what is the point? What you were talking about? What was your
Oh,
point?
that there are deals that are like big transactions like that are happening. I mean, $28, 28 million for a piece of land. There's another one at 260 King Street East that the pension plan bought. Sale type between partners. Okay, so it was just like a transfer between
Yeah,
partners. That doesn't
yeah.
count. 17 acres.
Bought more of the partners.
Anything else that was big? Nothing else that was big.
Nothing. And then mine. There's like nothing trading, right?
Yeah,
And I bought mine a year ago, and I just had to
affordable,
close on it now. But
affordable housing, residential sale, 509 Kingston Road.
anything trading now is like long closing or like
Well, these are
some
the ones that
kind
are
of
closing right now. 148 Sudan Holdings. They bought for 23 million. So that's Young and Eglinton. So site sold at Young and Eglinton for 23 million. I wonder
when,
what
when did they sell it though?
I don't know. They've closed on it at the end of April this year.
Right. This is the thing. It's like just like me. I mean, I'm closing now. So if you look at just the data, it looks like maybe, something happened, right? But the reality is I bought it a year ago,
Yeah.
right? And I bought it a year ago, assuming it was going to be worth more now. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is worth more now, but it's not worth as much as I was hoping, for God's sakes.
So urban Toronto, 56-story building, 674 units.
Where's this? Which one's this?
Sudan,
Okay.
affordable rental, market rate rental, residential rental building. So
Who's doing it?
Calmco Inc. West and West Wind Developments. Okay, so the numbered
No
company
idea.
bought it, 23 million bucks just for the land to develop it. I mean, I don't know.
23 million. How many square feet did they say that
It
the
doesn't say
application was for?
it doesn't say the application here. I'm just on Urban Toronto.
They didn't say it?
No, they just said 609 feet high, 56 stories, number of units, 674. They don't tell you
Hmm. Well, we didn't talk
what the
about
GFA.
my closing, TK, before the
Okay, let's
show's
do it.
over.
Let's do it.
That's
You're closed now. You can say it all. Let's go.
now we can say it all. I guess now we can say it all. I kind of intimated at it last week, but I did have Aiden delete it. But we just closed on a wonderful acquisition. We're very excited about it. And
Congratulations.
even though, thank you, appreciate that. Even though we didn't get the valuation we want, it is a ridiculous amount higher than what we paid for it. That's the goddamn truth. And we are just really fucking good at this, TK, because you know what?
You're good at it. Yeah.
There's not too many people that can zone sites this quickly. Okay. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen.
Well,
That
it's no, anybody can zone it that quickly. It's that are people picking the right sites that can be zoned. So you recognize the potential in the site and the deal and the price and the fact that you can get it zoned quickly, right?
well,
That's the
but
that's the that's the kicker because everybody else is looking for variances and all sorts of different,
that
lifts, right?
that's part of it. But I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to find something where that kind of zoning actually works as well. It can't, it has to work, right? You can't
yeah.
just find something, put a plan that's as of right. I mean, it has to work financially
Just
and
so you
has to be
know, it was
appealing.
46 bucks a square foot for that one at Young and Eglinton.
That I mean, yeah, that's a fantastic price.
Yeah. So 23 million and it's
Crazy
500,000
price.
GFA.
Wow, that's a great price. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows what they get, but still, that sounds like it makes sense. But again,
That's
who
the
the
type of deal
hell
that people are going to be actually willing to put up 23 million bucks for.
that's that they're gonna build a rental site
Sorry
for?
to interrupt.
No,
Yeah.
that's gonna definitely be a rental site. Who the hell's
No,
buying something to build a high-rise condo right now? I don't even care if
no, it's
it's
a rental
that
site.
cheap.
It is. It's a rental
Got to
site.
be a rental site for sure. And at
Yeah.
that number in that location, I can't see how it wouldn't work
Yeah.
number wise, right?
Yeah.
Unless there's no demand. And I mean, that kind of product is affected by what you were talking about earlier and these prices coming down on rents, right? Because that's going to be a more typical product. That's not going to be like a shitty product, and it's not going to be like a super high end. It'll be
Yeah.
marketed as a luxury product, but the reality is it will just be a normal building at
Yeah.
Young and
At a
Eglinton
good location.
in a
Yeah.
good location, right? And that'll fetch a pretty good rent, and those numbers should work for sure, especially if they get CMHC and all that other shit. But and you said they're doing affordable, which means they must be going for the CMHC bullshit. So those numbers work for sure. That's cool. It's nice to see stuff actually happening that works. But like, look, Young and Eglinton, okay, for a site like that, well, a couple of years ago was worth uh, probably at least triple for the
Yeah.
land, like
Yes.
150 a foot, easy, if
Yeah.
not more than that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe 120, 165, like it depends. But you could do that deal all day.
Yeah.
Now, like even 48, yeah, if it's not a rental, if it's a condo, it still probably doesn't even work. I don't know what you would need. You'd need probably 1,500 bucks there. But 48 bucks a foot is cheap as fuck. That's a beautiful deal. Now, that's a funny number because my site, TK, is zoned at that number, for Christ's sakes. Okay.
Yeah.
In a far superior area, I might add. And so this is where magic happens, TK. Now the problem is, and what I wanted to say before, or maybe not the problem from my perspective, but the reason why I can do things fast is not only because I pinpoint the sites, okay, that's part of it, but because I'm pushing this motherfucker because I'm the only guy around here, right? I'm not this big fat bloated company with a floor of people who are punching out at 5 o'clock, and they're not. They're checked out at like 3, right? And then they come to work at 9 o'clock, maybe, and they do 4 things and they think it's a productive day, right?
Yeah.
I'm driving this bus off the goddamn bridge every single day, pushing everybody like a crazy person, right?
I'm
And
a
they
witness to
like it.
this.
They like it though. They like being pushed because most people, it's like it just left to do nothing. There's nothing exciting. My deals are exciting, DK. It's fun to work with me. Trust me.
Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm super fun, TK.
I know. I
No,
got off
but
easy on Thelma.
well, but listen, I mean, these are legendary projects now, and people are talking about them, and more people are going to be talking about them because I'm doing stuff that like was not even in the realm of anybody's thinking a year ago, right?
Mhm.
Like to get 7 stories in the middle of the neighborhood in Forest Hill and actually get it, this is miraculous stuff. Maybe not now, but I think even still now, to be quite honest with you, that site
Yeah.
is an anomaly.
Yeah.
But like Bayview, like in the bridle path to do what I'm planning on doing, it's going to be an interesting year. Let's
Yeah.
just put it that way. There are
Yeah.
going to be people that are not quite as enthusiastic about my plan as I am. But now the investors, they will be very enthusiastic about this.
Yeah, I can't see on Bayview. Like, I mean, you got two post road across the street. That building's gonna be even bigger, right? It's a bigger lot.
That
Um,
thing will be much bigger, and it's a
right?
condo,
Yeah,
right?
you got multiple no
On the
like when
bridle
you drive
path
down
too.
Bayview from the 401 down to Lawrence and you just see all these dilapidated houses and like these weird for sale signs and marketing development signs.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, can somebody
Well,
not figure out how to develop like the best part of Toronto's like
it's
North York
changing.
area?
It's
Like, you know what I mean?
changing.
Like, can you not figure this out? Is
It's
someone not able to just be able to like, you know,
well, but this
make
is the
sense of
thing.
this?
No,
And so
but
you're the
this is
first one on that side of the street.
well on that side of the street. But
Yeah.
this is the reason, and it's not. It has not been attempted for a very long time, like in 30 years in that area, because the people around there, it wasn't like you were not allowed to do it
Yeah.
as planning. So like this was not even an option. These were just normal houses along this thing, like any other street, just a residential zone, nothing, there was no commercial zoning at all. There was no mixed use, nothing, just regular houses. And the people in the area, especially behind these houses, have built crazy castles and they
Hmm.
have lots of money and they have very, very good, well paid lawyers. And so, anytime anybody would think about something like this, done, like you're
Hmm.
done, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, it all was just townhouse sites for like the last 20 years. And
Yeah.
they're
Luxury townhouses, luxury townhouses, luxury
luxury,
townhouses. Nobody's making any money.
all up and down. Nobody made any money. A
Yeah.
lot of sites, if you look at them, they were zoned for townhouses, never moved forward. They just sit in there with
Yeah.
zoning.
Because the guy looked at his cost and he was just like, why the heck would I build this?
I gotta sell this townhouse for $5 million. Like,
Yeah.
how many of those are people buying? Now it turns
Yeah.
out that some of them sold, but
Yeah.
regardless, now there's like a revolution. Now you have as of right zoning in areas where, listen, if it's as of right, then nobody can do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
But now you have on top of that, on top of the fact, forget even as of right. If you go for a revision or a new zoning amendment, and you go and try and change the rules, they're a lot more willing to play ball right now because the mandate is to build more stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what a lot of people don't know is that they added, this strip of land to the avenue study, to the
Yes.
avenue map.
Yes.
Right. So like this thing within 3-4 months went from 6 stories as of right to 8 stories as of right.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have the counselor's support with your application, then
Yeah.
the neighbors don't have
Who's
a
the counselor
voice
there in
anymore.
Bayview?
A wonderful, wonderful person
Yeah.
that we will leave out of the conversation right now
Okay. Whoever
because
that person is, though,
we love
they
them
are so
considerably.
they're so good at their job.
They're so awesome
Yeah. I
and
can
they're
see why they got elected.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're doing a great job.
Yeah. For
They're
sure.
doing a great job. But
And you guys should vote for them again too if you live in that area the next election.
well, hopefully they're on board with everything that I'm liking to do, and
Nah,
then
they're good. They're good. They're good
full
people. They're
support,
good
full
people.
support.
So the other thing that I was going to mention was um, the fact that I lost my thought.
Oh my God, you're turning into me. That's
I
good.
know. I know.
That's
I'm getting
good. You're
older.
busy.
Yeah.
You're getting older and you're
But
busy.
bottom line is, you got a site here. The people aren't going to be able to protest it. You're in the avenue, so you got some, extra height requirements here. Oh, this is what I was going to say. The
We're doing a
timing that you
rental
couldn't have
building
better.
now.
The timing you couldn't have been better because you are going into the city at a time where applications are at an all-time low.
Actually, I don't even know if that's true. I think applications, there's a ton of them. It's just who the fuck is building things, right?
I
There's
think
lots of, they
I
might
think
be,
I think applications are way lower than when the market was hot. There's no way.
they're lower, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of applications that go in for some crazy, like crazy
Okay.
4 tower
So
sites and all
let's not
kinds of
use the word applications then. Let's say there's a lot less shovels getting put in the ground.
starts
So
are just, yeah, starts
it
are done.
means that the city's looking at it and going, okay, who is actually going to build something here?
Yeah, who
And
can
so if
start?
you're like, listen, guys, You give me this, I'll fit in within your box, you fit within my box, and I am going to be putting a shovel in the ground in the next 2 years, and this place is going to get built. They're
Yeah.
going to be like, all right, this is great. They start talking to other people who are like, pushing the limits and really, stretching what, the city wants and what the official plan says and everything else. Those guys are going to have a lot longer of a timeline. Or it could be a bigger building, which they're going to be like, shit, this building is going to take, 4 or 5 years before anything comes up. You got these small little nice boutique buildings that they can pop off in a 3 4 year timeline total from
Yeah.
purchase to move-in date. That's a huge plus. That actually
Well,
puts numbers on the board.
Well, and this one is special for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, because it's a purpose-built rental building. So
Yeah.
just the concept in the area is like unheard of and very new. But
Yeah.
what makes that important, at least to this discussion, is that we don't have to sell anything, right?
Yeah.
We just have to get our equity in order for the project that we end up deciding that we're doing so that we can move forward. It does require a considerable amount more equity because you're not selling units and using those deposits as part of your capital stack, right? Instead,
Yeah.
you actually have to have capital. So technically it can get in the ground much faster than
Can
a
people invest
condo.
in this one? Can people invest in?
People can definitely invest in this
So
one.
if you want to own a purpose-built rental on Bayview, you can invest in your building and be a
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah, you can
partnership.
be part of the LP 100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have not officially announced it yet, and it is going through certain
But
channels,
maybe
but
people are
hey,
interested in that.
reach
Maybe
out.
people will say, "Hey, I want to own an apartment building, but I don't really want to do all the work. How do
Yeah.
I do that?"
That
This is the type of stuff you do. You
this
get
is the time.
returns. You have a share. You own part of the building.
Yeah, for
You could sell to
eternity.
a REIT, right? You guys might sell to a REIT in the future. That could be a cool thing, right?
I would really love to own this thing for the rest of my life and to
I'm
kind of
sure everyone
pass it
says
down
that
to the
at some point.
kids.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends how much money they dangle in front of me and when, right? But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
part of my strategy is to own like apartment buildings long term and commercial
Yeah.
property long term. So I mean, this would be a wonderful property to add into the portfolio for eternity,
For
right?
sure.
And
Yeah.
as it pays itself down, it's crazy. Like my wife, through her father owns some properties, right? Like her family owns some properties. And I was looking at the numbers. I got like the updated numbers from, I
Like the
guess, like
revenue
May.
generated from
Just
each
every
unit.
month
I
we
know.
get, well, every month we
I
get
know.
like a P&L statement and a
Yeah.
balance sheet. And I'm looking at it going, man, this thing is like just spits off money.
Yeah.
My wife's grandfather bought these things like so long ago, worked his butt off, paid the things off, no, great tenants, no mortgages, run by like a super professional management company. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, like just so
So here you go,
lucky.
kids. This will support you forever.
But
And it
that
does.
guy, but he bought it with the intention to just constantly keep passing it down.
Yeah.
Nobody's allowed to sell this. Everybody pass it down.
Yeah.
And it dilutes along the way. But like, man,
Yeah.
I mean, it's much harder to do that kind of thing nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
It's
No,
way no.
no,
Am I
no,
missing something?
no. I think it's you know, it's different, but I don't see why somebody can't do that today.
I, I don't know. It's like this
Yeah.
guy bought four industrial buildings, and he had a manufacturing company, just put all of his money into these buildings, paid them all down. Like, I don't know if a lot of
Yeah.
people,
The wealth, okay, so the wealth
he's
created
dead.
from the 70s till today could never be repeated again.
Right.
That's for sure. But it doesn't, like, for you to say someone can't buy an apartment building,
No, I
get
didn't
it
say
paid
that.
off,
I said it's
and then
harder
pass it on to
now.
their kid.
No,
I
they
don't think that
can.
that's true.
It's
Yeah.
much harder to do it now,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Maybe I misstated. Yes, I agree
And
with you. Yeah.
and I think not like now, I mean, I don't know if he needed debt to buy them at some point and paid it off over time or it
Yeah.
appreciated away,
Imagine.
over
Yeah.
time. Maybe not. But now, like, if you're going to buy an apartment building, for God's sakes, like, let's say your
You're
goal is to
losing
buy,
money.
well, I don't know if you're losing money, but it's hard to find something that makes money where you have to take on like more than 50% of the debt or something. And then,
Yeah.
if you have 50% of the money, maybe there's a better investment you can make for God's sakes
Yeah.
than like a purpose-built rental building at a whatever cap,
Two cap.
right?
Yeah. Some of them.
It's a dying game right now, right? And it's really hard to actually the guys that are building these new ones, I don't know how the numbers work other than all the fees that get generated. Like, and I guess interest payments on the coupons, right?
Yeah.
But like where I don't know if they're making money these buildings every single month. I mean, how many buildings can you build that are just normal buildings in Mississauga and charge $5 a month per foot? Like, I don't know. Is there
I
a
don't think
big
you're getting that
demand?
much. No.
You don't need that much?
No, I don't think you're getting that much. I don't know.
Yeah,
$5 a
so
foot.
how do you make any goddamn money? Because it costs the same amount to build in Mississauga as it does in Toronto. The
Yeah.
land is like so negligible right now. Like,
Yeah.
what's the difference if you're buying it $70 or $40 a buildable on one of these things?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think it makes a fucking difference.
No.
Maybe, I don't know. Right now, it's like that end price and the fact that
So yeah, you
nobody
get
will buy it.
yeah, let's look at the deal that I put up on the market today on Bellamy. So you got a 40,000 square foot building, right?
That's what you can do. I
Yeah.
forget this one.
Yeah. So $400 a square foot
400 bucks a square foot for what?
to build a purpose-built rental in Scarborough.
No parking.
No underground parking.
Yeah, no parking and
Yeah.
like a very not nice building. Yeah, that would be doable for hard costs only.
Hard costs.
Yeah,
Soft costs. How would we
probably
estimate
around
that?
the same. Yeah, I don't know. Call it 275 bucks a foot. Probably low, but
275
okay.
bucks a foot.
Some people will say I'm crazy, but those are probably real numbers.
Okay. So
I think it's
27
more than
million,
that.
the land's too. So we're gonna go round it off at 3 million bucks. 30 million bucks.
Okay.
30 million bucks. And so at a four cap, you need to have a $1.2 million NOI, which in 40,000 square feet, maybe
How
you're
many
gonna get
units? Divide that by the
maybe
amount of
40
units now.
units, maybe. I don't know.
In
Less.
40,000 square
50
feet.
units. The 1.2 million, 40
Out
units.
there, you're gonna get more. You're gonna squeeze 60 into that bad boy somehow.
So 30,000 NOI per unit divided by 12, 2,500 NOI per unit. So you probably got to get more. 2 million divided by 60, 20,000 NOI per unit divided by 12. So you got to get a net of about 1,600 bucks a month from each unit. Meaning with all your taxes and everything like that, maybe you're collecting 2,500, something like that. I think it makes sense. I think there's a deal for somebody there. If that's what they want to do. That's a lot of money to spend.
Um,
It's 30 million bucks.
it's a very small building,
Yeah.
so it really needs the right person to be able.
But yeah, if you got a sizable project, like it's not you think you can just go and get $150 million construction loan. Like it's just they're gonna be like, hey, sure, you want to do a purpose-built rental there, Jim? No problem. Which corner do you want to put it on? Like that's not how
Well,
it works.
so you need somebody who's small enough that wants to do it, and
Yeah.
big
Doesn't have the
enough.
equity to support a big building, but enough to get the construction loan
Well, and is good
securities signed
enough.
off on.
Yeah, and has
Yeah.
enough to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that guy is not everywhere.
Yeah.
That guy.
But
Normally, the
but because
guys.
it's across the street from the MTSA, if you're able to get an extra 15,000 GFA by bumping it up a couple stories,
Yeah.
that makes a difference.
There's one thing that scares me about that site. I don't know if you want me to say it or not, but
Yeah, say it.
there's one thing that at
Yeah.
least I would have to spend a bunch of money to figure out, and that's the
Yeah.
gas station across the street.
Okay. I
The
mean, that's
gas station
obvious.
across the street, which, yeah, I mean, to some
Yeah.
people that would be obvious, but
Yeah.
that's definitely something that has to
It's a
get.
Shell gas station.
Well, the thing is with gas stations, they tend to leach their contamination across streets, across properties, all over the place. So depending
They
on
tend to, or they have in the past.
no, like they're pretty fucked up. Yeah, like you do not generally want to own something near a gas station, but I mean there is a whole main artery between the two of them. It depends on grading and
Yeah.
drainage and all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
There's a property across the street that is like beautiful. You should go get that thing done.
The plaza?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But this one, good corner lot, interesting area.
Listen,
Like
that's as good as these deals get. Like these
the price
like
point is fantastic. a
You know,
thing.
like it's like you can't really find a better corner lot with 165 feet of depth in on a corner that really is like suitable for a building as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like if you're in a really super high residential area where people are going to look at it and kind of go, you got two corners already commercial, you got a school, you got a lot of like,
Yeah. But even a
you know,
4-story building there is probably a good play, or townhouses there is probably a good play for that kind of money. And
yeah.
if you're right,
There's a townhouse project there. Yeah.
no,
There's
but
eight
for sure.
townhouses there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so
Yeah.
like chopped up over that amount of money is not that bad for land. And
$250 a lot.
yeah, nowadays like there's two things moving. It's townhouses and high-end luxury condos.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe that's the play. I don't know. I mean, the price is appealing. The fact that they're willing to, have terms,
They got
that's
terms.
appealing.
There's terms. Yeah.
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 For the right guy, that's going to be a good little project for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for promoting my stuff.
Yeah. Thanks
And
for promoting my stuff.
you're welcome. And hopefully, people promote the show to their friends and family by liking, commenting, and subscribing so that more people can see this awesome show about not much,
Not much.
not
Today was
much. Just Daryl and TK's daily lives, talking online, sharing it with you guys, trying to be informative, but at the same time, just having fun. Two friends having fun. So
we didn't talk about World War III. I guess that's
we
worth
kind of talked
saving
about it
for
last
next
week.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
nothing
one of those
new.
topics that I'm not really gonna.
Just more missiles, more bombs,
There's
more
some bombs going on. Not
crazy
thankfully not
story
here.
though. Thank God our my cousins and I guess like it's my wife's first cousin, one of my like our great friends. Their kids, their son, two of their sons, they have two sons and a daughter. Their two sons were in Israel on a trip. I think did we talk about this last week? They
No.
got trapped there in Israel and thank God, like they were on like a Jewish like trip program to like go
Yeah.
have fun in Israel. And all of a sudden there's like missiles and they're like hanging out in bunkers and they got on some like cruise ship, like all these kids.
Yeah.
Somebody arranged a cruise ship to take them to like Greece or something and get them the fuck out of Israel because they closed the airports till the 30th or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, even my son's best friend is stuck there in Israel. Was supposed to go to Italy, and they're just trapped there, like in a some family member's house.
Yeah.
Crazy what's going on
Oh my
there.
God.
But
Yeah.
oh my God, what a story. Like, you're
Yeah.
20 something, you're stuck there. There's fucking missiles actually breaking through the
Yeah. You're
door,
like, this is supposed to be where I'm supposed to go to be
right?
safe. I don't,
Right. And
I'm
then
good. I'm going to stay in Canada.
and the next thing you know, you're on like a cruise ship
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like escaping Israel. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on right now?
I know.
Right?
I
This
know.
is like World War II stories, like people escaping like concentration camps, jumping on boats to escape.
To
It's
escape.
fucking
Yeah. So if this time it's
crazy.
2025, so they're luxury cruise lines and it's all you can drink.
It literally was. It's like a fucking party liner. It's like somebody called
Yeah.
Carnival to get those kids
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, anyways, yeah, crazy, crazy day.
I will bid you adieu, and I hope that you have a great weekend
I'm going
away
away,
on your
so I'm gonna have a
vacation,
great weekend.
and I
Excited.
will I'll chat with you on the flip side.
Adios.
This shit is taking 5 years.